Sup. Little time has been for another video, vlog, but rig still static screens and the major axis controls in the back. Nothing's changed. What is going on here is the P2000s are coming apart. Going to be cleaned, oiled, gridded, de-gridded, and they've been running a year without maintenance. And part of that is going to be reorienting the pedal plate to add an adjustable slider. That way the distance between seat and pedals can be adjusted depending on the car or the feel I'm going for, or even a different driver that comes or a friend that is driving. Rather than scrunching up, you can turn the knob and electronically control the distance to the pedals with a servo. That's going to be this one, and that little tiny 12 millimeter ball screw down there for about 200 millimeters of travel distance. But in addition to that, since that servo is hooked into one of the two Thanos controllers, should be able to, in addition to adjusting for positioning and locking for drive, use that axis to mimic ABS shuttering effects, potentially some added surge benefits or tire loss, slip in the entire pedal assembly itself. Very minor. Engine RPM. Well, it's an experiment. And to make sure that this locks intently or tightly onto the center tube rail, slightly becoming Swiss cheese over time, there'll be a linear rail on each side of that 2-inch leading up to the plate from the bottom side. And that's what these red lines here were scored exactly where these central plates will need to be that tie into the 4 bolts down to here. And last piece of this is so this remains super rigid. There's 4 points of contact. I think I'm going to take a 1/4-inch piece of aluminum bar stock, mill out these 4 holes to be able to attach to the linear rail, and then weld to this aluminum plate at all 4 corners. So goes the plan. What else? Oh yeah, some cool things here. I've tried VR. The latency got me. Couldn't deal with it. 90 frames a second isn't enough, and the head tracking, any delay when you turn your head, it's just not enough. When the industry or the technology gets to about 200 hertz, that's probably going to be the sweet spot. Less than 4 or 5 milliseconds of delay for any tracking or for frames. I think you'd be competitive, but for sure triples are, if you want to be competitive in iRacing, you got to have triples. It's unmatched. But that said, there's some older videos, and the technology is somewhat old. Track IR, which allows you to sit in the rig, physically turn your head left and right, and the game act as if you are swiveling your head with the motion somewhat spinning on screen to allow you to look into a corner or see a car next to you and look up and down to see the gauges. It just to give that little extra slight immersion. At first was disorienting, but now that it's dialed in, I really like it. And that's being done by this 60 FPS webcam pointed directly at my portrait, and using AI Track, which is a modular piece of GitHub software that's open source. It tracks your facial features, eyes, nose, mouth, and because those features have elevation change to it, you are able to, when your face turns, the profile changes. So AI Track can notice that yaw and rotation and X and Y movement translate it into open track, which then feeds that data into iracing. That gives you the left and right motion. Plenty of videos on YouTube showing how to set that up. Was skeptical. I think it's here to stay. I really like it. What else? Other than cleaning this place up and getting the drums working, not much. But, that'd be it. You could post it on when these get going. Later.